Good morning, everybody. I hope you are all doing well. I'm Dave, getting a couple things ready. Decided to jump in and go live here for a few minutes and talk to you guys. I had a few considerations for live streaming and the pandemic and all the stuff that we're going through over the last few days and we'll be going through over the next few weeks and stuff. So I thought I'd just pop in and let's talk for a few minutes. As we were getting things ready for our church and plans were changing minute by minute, a few things I thought of a few things that our pastors hadn't thought of, and so I thought I'd share them with you, just in case y'all haven't been thinking about this. I'm still getting a couple of things ready, so if y'all will just bear with me for a sec. I am streaming everywhere right now. I'm going to YouTube, Facebook, both on our page and on the Church Media Hacks group. So, and about to send out an email actually as well. So just let everybody who is watching, just real quick, let me know and make sure you've got it. Music is loud. Okay. Okay, I've turned it down some. There we go. And I will turn the music off in just a minute as we get started. Christopher, can you go and check out the chat and stuff over on YouTube, or excuse me, on Facebook as well, please, sir. And I will, I'm not able to monitor everything. So if you guys would just be patient with me as we get this going. This is very last minute. And Justin is on vacation and so can't join me right now. So one-man show here with some of my team in the background as they have the opportunity to help out. I need to check a couple things. Has everybody got a plan for how they're going to be handling services tomorrow? If so, I would love for you to let me know what y'all's plans are. Just leave it in the chat or in the comments and let me know. Background as they have. Let me turn this down. Help out. Boop. There we go. Mercy, mercy. This has been an interesting week. We should be live in the Church Media Hacks group, and I am not seeing that, which is interesting. I wonder why that's the case. All right, I'm going to share it over to that. Oh. They changed it where I can't do it from buggers. Okay. They changed it where I can't stream directly to a group now. That's good. It's always nice to know that Facebook pushes us to use groups and then we can't stream to a group for whatever reason. Nice. Okay. There it is. I'm going to share this over to the Hacks group. It's been a while since we've done everything like this, done all of our like simulcast our stream. Thoughts on live streaming through our pandemic. All right. That should be it. One person wants to join the group. Love it. Okay, guys. There we go. All right. We are good All right, so Christopher Hall, would you please monitor the chat over in hi James, would you please monitor the chat over in over on the Facebook in the Hacks group, and just hit me questions in Slack if people have them. Okay, I would appreciate it. Thank you, kind sir. Okay, let's talk for a few. Okay. Okay. We're in the middle of a pandemic here in the well, on the planet, but here in the United States, we've got. I'm sure it's all states now, but like yesterday morning or the day before, there was only like 2 states that hadn't been affected with at least one person having the virus. By the way, if you hear weird sounds coming through, sorry about that. I'm like talking with my pastor and our worship minister and all this kind of stuff. There's there's a lot of communication going on. I'm sure that with your church, there's a lot of communication and stuff going on. Things are changing hour by hour, minute by minute. Plans, earlier this week, everybody was planning on being at church on Sunday, and then, things start changing. And, depending on, your county, they've got rules that they've set up, things that they've, decided, here in the Metroplex, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, where, we've got like considerations for if groups of 1,000 or group of 500 or groups of 250, things like that. Like our movie theaters, are doing half capacity now. So anyway, a lot of considerations, and things are changing very fluid, it seems. So this morning, my pastor and I were talking, and yesterday we had shot a little video, about a 5-minute video on that we were going to release to Facebook. He had made a page on our website with our current plan, and what a page to basically tell everybody to keep up with all the different things that are coming through. Just like we all should be doing on your church's Facebook page, or excuse me, your church's website. You should have like a page where you're putting up the latest information. We also we'd shot a video, and we were going to release it this morning and on Facebook, just giving what our current plan was. As of yesterday, our plan was, dadgummit. Our plan yesterday was to, hang on just a second. I'm sorry, everybody. Things are really fluid. I'm trying to see if I can like mute Slack. Let's see. I'm just going to sign out of that. Okay. There we go. That way, they can all talk without me for a few minutes. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Everything's fluid. In case you don't know, Justin and I both work in church, as well as run Church Training Academy and do all this. So we've got our own congregations that we're working with on all this sort of stuff. So I'm trying to teach you guys and show y'all guys some stuff while, people in my church. I mean, our entire church now has my phone number and is, been instructed if they have a problem getting to the live stream or how to live stream, they're supposed to be contacting me and stuff. So, that's the way it is. That's the way this goes when we're responsible for a large group of people, and we've got to be fluid, and we've got to be able to communicate clearly with them and set their expectations accordingly. One thing that is important in our church, and I'm telling everybody just when I'm talking to them, all my friends and stuff, there's way too much FUD out there, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. The news is doing more damage than it is good, as far as I'm concerned, because they're telling us just everything's with a negative spin on it, instead of certain age group having an 85% chance of survival. They're telling us there's a 15% chance of death and destruction and all. So there's a whole lot of garbage that's floating around, and there's a lot of good information that's going on, and you got to sift it out and stuff. So it's important for us as the church communicators and as our ministerial staff and all that to communicate clearly. One thing that our goal is with our church is to try to keep things as as normal as possible, and not disrupt as much as possible. Now, granted, we have considerations like the people that are really high at risk. This is for when you look at the way this when you look at the way this virus is floating around, it's a lot more contagious than, say, the flu is, or the cold, or any of the other normal things that we go through. And so we have to be very careful, more so with like the most vulnerable among us, the ones that have autoimmune issues, or the ones that have that are older and have respiratory problems and stuff like that. So we've actually had originally started that we were going to have things as normal, and then we looked at just basically extending our spring break schedule, which for us, our spring break schedule was Sunday morning stuff is all is all been normal for like the week of starting spring break and then the week of ending spring break, those 2 weekends, the bookmarks, and then like nothing on Wednesday night or anything like that. None of our midweek Bible studies, all that sort of stuff was all just kind of on hold. And so we had originally decided we were going to extend that, and for the next couple of weeks, like to the end of the month, because that's what our school system here has done. They've extended spring break for the next 2 weeks. So we thought, okay, we'll do that as well, and we'll just have things on Sunday. And then it changed to, we're going to not do our small groups. We'll just do our worship service at 10:30 like normal. And the original plan was we were encouraging, and we understand that that the people that know that they're at risk are policing themselves, right? So one of my best friends is a brain cancer patient, and his immune system, because of the chemo and stuff, is always, very fragile. So, we have to be careful when we get together with him normally. We have to let him know that, hey, I've had a cold this week. Do you still want to go to the movies? Do you still want to come over? That kind of stuff. But then when we get with something like this, it's even more bigger. So, he is taking care of himself. He's like, I'm not going to be at church for the next month. Okay, great. We understand that. So our idea was no small groups, only worshiping in the worship service, and understanding that it's mostly going to be the younger audience that is there. Well, that has now changed to we're not doing it at all. We're only going to be going live. Now, we've been live streaming our services for many years, and we've been amping up our digital game more and more and more each year. So one of the things that my pastor and I were talking about was, how do we do this now? So we're doing digital service, and what we don't want to do is to do it like normal, but we want everything to be normal. Does that make sense? We want to have our we want you, our congregation, to be to go through a normal worship experience, even though you're going to be doing it on your phone or on your computer or on your your Roku TV or whatever. So we want that experience that you're used to each week to be the same, because what we do is we basically turn on our cameras and you get to peep in through the window of what's going on in our regular worship service. And that's what most of us are doing. Some of the larger churches may have a digital service that they do where the digital pastor is doing the same sermon, or it could be the pastor doing the sermon, but doing it in maybe a little bit different thing, not standing in front of a pulpit with a big orchestra and choir and whatever behind you. Sometimes they do it where he does it and records it and then publishes it, and you just get it like a podcast. Some of them do a stream that is modified with things that are modified from the original or the live one that's going on. And then some people, a majority of us, are basically turning on cameras and piping audio in and, letting you just kind of peep what's going on live as it's happening. And that's the most common thing. But what do you do when you've got an empty house? So the pastor and I were talking, and we decided that what we're going to do is we're going to record everything. So instead of going up there tomorrow morning and turning on the cameras and shooting, in our case, it would be really weird because our cameras are in the back and they're actually up in our balcony. So as we go through our service, when I cut to a wide shot, you actually see the tops of some heads, right? And we are up and we are looking down. So it's that's a view. That's a whole nother show to talk about that. I hate the way we have our cameras set up right now because it makes the pastor look small and psychologically it makes him look weak because we're looking down on him, you know. So anyway, that's a whole nother thing. So I was thinking, do we go down and start moving some cameras around and try to live stream with the cameras down on the floor so we can make it look more intimate and all that, and not show we don't have the backs of heads to show. So is he going to preach to an empty room? Are we going to do a worship service to an empty room? How are we going to do that? We decided to forego that. What we're doing is, in just a little bit, we're going to be meeting and going into our video room, and we're going to do a very short worship set, 3 or 4 songs. It's going to be acoustic, think MTV Unplugged, back in the day, that kind of a thing. And then we're going to record the pastor doing the sermon. It's going to be the exact same sermon. Nothing about the message that the series that we're going, none of that is changing. But we're going to be recording him doing it. And then from that point, now is what to do with it. And he said, let's just upload it in the morning. And I started thinking about it. Where's the friction point? Okay. If we want this to be as frictionless as possible, then we don't upload stuff on Sunday morning, do we? We don't upload. And one of the things that I tell people, and I've answered this question many times in our Hacks group, is how to take something that's been pre-recorded and make it seem like it's live. And I've told people the solution is to do like a premiere on YouTube so that they get notifications and stuff. Do a watch party on Facebook so that they get notifications, and that all is wonderful. But let's look at this type of situation. This is a very unique situation. This is not a normal live streaming type situation, even though we may think that it is. It's really not. What happens on Sunday morning? Okay, at our church, we have 500 people that come in and sit in our, they go through Sunday school classes, small groups classes, Bible study classes, whatever. And then they come in and all gather, and everybody sits in pews and chairs and stuff all around, and we all focus our attention on the stage, and we have our pastor and our worship team. If you can't be there, then you're logging in remotely, right? And going through the live stream. Okay, so any given Sunday we've got 20 people or so that are remote, and they pipe in through the comments, hey, we're on vacation, watching this morning, miss you guys, stuff like that. People are sick, they do that, okay? But in this case, it's everybody. That's the only way to do it, which means there's a good chance that a lot of the people sitting out in the congregation, the ones that are there every single week, don't know how to do this. They haven't done it. They know it's there. Somewhere. They know it's there. Does that make sense? We live stream our church, whatever that means. Okay? If you are messaging routinely that the live stream is there, the podcast is there, the YouTube channel is there, if you're doing that normally and that's just a part of the messaging, then there's a greater chance that everybody knows where it is. But if you're not, then a lot of people don't know what this is, which is why my pastor sent out with my permission, my phone number and my email address, so that if the people in our church don't know how to get on the live stream, don't know what to do, have a problem with it, because this is their very first time to ever do this, then they've got a point of contact to try to get it fixed. So, how many of you have people in your church? And let's hit the chat. I haven't even looked to see who all's here. Let me jump over to the chat for a sec. Got James and Christopher. Okay. If you're watching and have on YouTube and on Facebook and haven't said hi or anything like that, let me know. Let me know that you're here. I need to know who I'm talking to. How are you? How many people know where your stuff is? How many people know how to do it? At our church, we have, I don't know, what's our ratio? I don't know, maybe we've changed over the last few years. Maybe 40%, 35% are much older, and the rest are my age and lower. 40 and down with high school and younger families, right? Um, the younger you are, the more the chances that you just kind of natively know how to do this. You go to the Facebook page, you do all that. How many people in your church are on Facebook? How many people in your church know where your Facebook page is? How many of them have joined your church's Facebook private group? Are you doing that? How many of them are receiving your emails each week? How many of them know that your church's website has a /live page? Let me check the questions here. A question just came in. So Rock Davis says, couldn't a video email with instructions to log on help instead of having to contact you directly? Yes, absolutely. But that goes right into what I'm talking about right now. How many people know? I mean, how many people? You got someone who's 85 years old. How often do they check their email? You see what I'm saying? But they're there every week. They come in, they're 9:45. As soon as Sunday school's over, they're sitting in there by themselves, and they're the first person in the church while we're still setting up. We've got a handful of those people at our church. Some of them are on Facebook. Some of them check their email and stuff. But these are who I'm talking about. That's the thing. So, if there's this nebulous concept that you can go to the church's website and you can click on sermons and then watch live, if you're messaging stuff like that, what's the lowest common denominator for all of this is kind of what I'm getting towards. And I've been telling our pastor we need to be sure that we send out a text with the link in it as well, which means that, even if someone has one of those, I know we see the commercials on TV where you get the phone and it's an Android phone and it's got the bigger buttons and it's a smartphone, and it's only, $20 a month, and you see, happy older people, kind of like one of those commercials for whatever medication, having a wonderful life and walking through the park, and they've got their phone with the big buttons on it. Even if you're doing that, anything shy of a flip phone, really, will be able to have access to getting to the YouTube channel. That's the lowest common denominator when you think about it. YouTube is free for anybody and everybody. If they can get to youtube.com, they can get to your stuff. Okay? It's so funny. One of the guys who's like, I don't know, he's like 35, small kids, good friend of ours. He pinged me this morning after the emails went out and said, hey, if you have problems with helping people get on the live stream, let me know. I can run over to people's houses and help them set it up. Just let me know. So we were talking this morning, and I realized, hey, we're not connected on Facebook. And I communicate with 90% of the world through like Facebook Messenger or through like text, right? Ask yourself. I mean, that's kind of how we're going. A lot of us are doing it that way. So I said, hey, I'll message you on Facebook. And he said, I'm not on Facebook. What? Okay. So even someone who you would think should be on Facebook or would be on Facebook is not on Facebook. So what's the lowest common denominator across the board? Texting and the YouTube channel. Okay. So if Miss Margie doesn't know to go to yourwonderfulchurch.com/live or yourwonderfulchurch.com and click on we've been there. We've all had this conversation with older folks that, where do I click? I can't see it, and their mouse just goes flying around the screen. They have no idea what to do. Listen, that's okay. I'm not making fun of them. That's just a reality of the situation, and we've all had to deal with that, so that's okay. So the lowest common denominator is your YouTube channel and your texting and your email. Okay, between those two, that's kind of the bottom rung of pervasive communication. Be sure that you're doing that. If you do not have a text platform set up, I don't know what to tell you. But you've got another week, because we're probably all going to be doing this again next week. So be considering that. Ours, I think, is all part of our church management system. I think, what are we? We're using Shelby Online now. So I think that is built into it, as well as we're using that, I think, as our email communication and all this kind of stuff. So we have those things in place. So that's one thing that you need to consider, because like I said, there are people that are there every week without fail and haven't ever logged on to look at him. Keep that in mind. The other one is the weirdness of doing a live stream of an empty room. Your pastor may go in, on Thursday afternoons and stand in the pulpit and practice, and if they do that, then that's great. They're used to talking to an empty room. My pastor doesn't do that. And so what we decided to do was this afternoon, like I said, we're going to go shoot something, and then we are going to not upload it, but we're going to stream it. Again, trying to keep the friction as small as possible. For people who have never done this before, never gone to, they're not on Facebook, they don't ever go to YouTube, they just know that the church has a website and I can watch a live stream, whatever that is, on the church's website. They're the ones that are going to go to the church's website. And it could be the first time that they've gone in a year to the church's website. And if there is Stream Live now, or Watch Live, or Join Us Live, or Live, or whatever, right there, and they click on it, and boom, there it is. If we upload something, then we have to change. We embed the YouTube player on the YouTube Live player on our church's website. So it sits there dormant until we go live. And as soon as that signal hits, then boom, there's the image. So when they go there at 10:30 tomorrow morning, they would expect to see that. Now, if I upload to YouTube, just to our channel, and they go to the church's live page, and nothing's happening there, but I've uploaded. You see where the disconnect is? So what do? Do I go make a new live page where I just embed this one player, for this one thing? No. You want to try to keep things as frictionless as possible, as normal as possible, especially for people who this is their first time. They've heard about this. They've never done it before, but they know they can go to the church's website and somewhere I can watch live. Okay? So what we are doing is we are going to live stream the playback of these videos. Okay? Now, the question is, how do you do that? If you're live streaming already, you probably already know how to do that. If you aren't live streaming, or if you've never done something like that, you've never thought about playing back a video while you're live streaming, then I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to talk about three. What are they called? Not platforms, because platform is YouTube and Facebook. Pieces of software. To live stream, you need basically three things. You need your camera and your content. You need like a place to bring that into, the broadcasting software where you can take that and mix it with other stuff. And then that software sends it out to wherever you go. Now, if you're already live streaming to multiple platforms, that's great. If you're live streaming to just one platform, like Facebook Live, again, chances are that people who know that you're live streaming and that they can go to Facebook to do it, whether they have a Facebook account or not, but now they know, I know we stream on Facebook. I guess it's time for me to set up a Facebook account. They may be doing that this afternoon or tomorrow morning first thing. That's why I always tell people stream to at least two places, Facebook and YouTube. That way you're kind of hitting where people are, which between those two, you'll hit everybody that is that is consuming live stream video content. So the software, OBS, vMix, and a TriCaster, the TriCaster unit where it's all brought in normally. A lot of people are using the Blackmagic ATEM software, which is fine. I will tell you that if you're using Blackmagic, then you already have a method for taking that program video and getting it out the door. So you're probably recording to a recorder, or got it plugged into a laptop, and you're recording on the laptop, and then you've got like OBS or something running that you're then taking that signal into and then streaming it out. Okay, that's fine. If you are using the Blackmagic hardware, we're using the ATEM, and you may even be using their cameras, but you've got different pieces of Blackmagic components that you've got all together, and the switcher and the mini, and the mini ATEM and all that stuff. What you're going to do, if you are pre-recording stuff, instead of uploading, I encourage you to live stream so that you don't break your normal tradition, right? But what you would do basically is have a laptop with your videos in it, and you could use like a player of some kind, like VLC. That's like the most common one out there. Just go to videoland.org. You can download the VLC player, and you put your video in a playlist, you make it full screen. You've got HDMI going into your ATEM or your ATEM mini as a video source, and you just play it and then go live just like you normally would, okay? If you're using OBS, I want to show you. It's actually really easy to do. Bear with me while I get this. Where are we at? Is it this one? No, it is this one. Here we go. All right, so there's the computer. And let me bring up OBS. Okay, and I'll make it full screen. You guys should be able to see that really easily. Okay, so here's my webcam. That's me. Let's basically, let me just delete this and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, so if you're not familiar with OBS, this is OBS. You've got a preview window right here. You've got a program window over here. The preview window is where you can set up your sources and kind of get everything ready. And then when you hit program, in fact, I'll make this look weird. When you hit, when you want it to go live, you cut or fade, and now this is what would be going out the program, which that is the stuff that is being live streamed or being recorded or what have you. Let me put that back and cut it back over. Okay. So you can build things over here. You can program. That is what the world sees. So right now, the only scene I have, a scene is basically a collection of inputs that are put together. So I've got a scene with a source of a webcam. If you're already using OBS, then you already have a lot of this stuff already built, okay? You've got, input 1 with a camera. You've got input 2 with a camera. You may have your ProPresenter computer coming in as a source. So, I mean, you've already got all that stuff set up, okay? What you're going to do is you're going to make a playback, all right? So we're going to go add a scene, and it is a, we're just going to call this playback. And then I'll just, there we go. Now we know for sure. So I've got a scene that is playback video, and you can see in the sources, there's nothing there. I don't have any sources for it. So if I go to cut this, there's nothing but black going out, okay? Now, with this, we're going to add a source, and built in to OBS is a VLC source, okay? Like I said, VLC, Videoland controller, player, whatever it is. That is, that's that player I was telling you about, that you can go to videoland.org and download the player. It's a great video player. It's cross-platform. It's wonderful. It's first thing I install on any computer I ever set up. But you can kind of use the guts of that inside OBS, which is really cool. So you can choose VLC video source, and let's just call it videos, and I'm going to hit OK, and it's going to bring up the properties window. Here is a little thing playlist. Okay, I can add in videos that I want to have. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a file, and I'm going to, here is the recording. This is actually the recording of last week's sermon, where I started the recording for the sermon part. Okay, so I'm going to add that in, and then I'm also going to go add in, because I want things to be as normal as possible, I'm going to go add in the bumper for our sermon. Okay, so I'm going to move the bumper up, and the sermon itself is going to be the second item. Okay, I'm all set. I'm just going to, and you can choose to loop it. Don't do shuffle. You can choose to loop it if you need to. Really, it's up to you. Hit OK, and I now have a, and it's black. There's nothing playing up there. You can't see it. Okay, but it's there. Now, when I fade over, it's going to start playing. Watch what happens. So there's our video that's playing. When that's over, I don't even know if you guys can hear this. And once that's over, watch, it's going to run to the next thing. And there you go. We're running on to the next video. So that is a clean way for you to do that. And basically what you're doing is you're doing a live stream, but you're doing pre-recorded content. It's really that easy. Doing the pre-recorded content gives you the ability to get things shot the way they need to be shot for this type of a unique situation. You're not showing a big empty stage with a pastor, or a pastor talking to an empty room where you don't see the backs of heads, you don't hear laughter, you don't hear anything like that. That can be unsettling for folks. Okay, now if your service and your sermon is extremely liturgical, and we do this, this sacrament here, we do this sacrament here, we do this one here, we do this one here, and you need to have all these very elaborate type things, that's one thing. You can do that. But what you can do is, instead of doing it live at the same time, you could actually go in early and shoot it and do it much more personally. You could actually take your camera and go set your camera up on the stage in front of the table, and now you've got a close-up of your priest doing the things that he needs to do and saying what he needs to say, and it's up close and personal. It's not from the back of the room zoomed up with no heads looking weird. Does that make sense? So this gives you a little bit more control, and it's something you can do this afternoon, or you can do on Tuesday, so that you get prepped for next week. So just keep that in mind. So that's doing it with OBS. That's how you do a playback with OBS. If you're not using OBS, if you're using vMix, I'm going to show you that. Before I show you that, if you have a TriCaster, and when we're doing things live, we're taking inputs from a whole bunch of live stuff. We're usually not playing things back, right, during our live stream, because if we play it back on our live stream, the people in the audience down below are not going to be seeing it. It's only going to be for the live stream people, right? So most of you may not know how to do this with your TriCaster. My TriCaster is at the church, and my other one is out in the garage. It's not, I don't have them, but I have got a picture that I'll show you real quick, just to show you the interface. You're already familiar with this interface if you're using the TriCaster. You got your preview inputs, you got your program output, you've got your various mix effect channels here. You've got your, there's the mix effects. You've got your preview channel. You've got your channel for program and preview. You've got all that. You know all this sort of stuff. You got your audio mixer, which is not being shown right now. What you have is two DDR channels. Those are dynamic disc recorders is what they're called. This is where you put in stuff. This is where you put in audio or video that is going to be played, which in this case, let's say we've got this lady on camera, and we were doing a news broadcast or doing something. She's on camera, she's talking to the camera, and now let me show you the video. Then you would bring this one up, and you would change to, you'd choose your DDR channel, DDR1, and then you'd hit auto, and it would fade, and then the contents of this first one or this one that they have selected would play, and then when it's done, you would fade back to the person on camera. So what you would do is you would basically take a recorded sermon, a recorded praise and worship time service, any of these things that you've shot specifically for playback. You would just stack them in and then set this to autoplay. So down at the very bottom, I know it's kind of hard to see on here, but down at the very bottom where your play controls are on your TriCaster, you choose autoplay. And so what you could do is you can start one. You'll start that one, you'll hit DDR1, and then you'll hit take or fade or whatever, and it comes out. And when that one's over, then it will automatically play the next one, and then it will automatically play the next one, and then automatically play the next one. Okay, however many you have stacked in there. And so you'll need to be here to monitor it, obviously, so that when it's finished with the last one, you go to, a black screen or a screen that says see you next week or whatever like that. And then from there, you can go to your fade to black and exit out and stop your stream. So if my TriCaster was like plugged in with this, I would have shown you all that live, but I can't, and I'm sorry about that. All right, let's jump back over here. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Let me check questions. No questions? Good. Let me go over, check the thing. Chris, thank you for putting in the link to Videoland. Appreciate that for VLC. Okay, last thing. I'll show you how to do it with vMix if you're using vMix. This is going to seem weird. I have my screen cap. I'm like capturing the screen that vMix is running on, and I'm using it right now, so it's going to look weird. You're going to kind of get that, Hall of Mirrors kind of effect here. So don't freak out, but here you go. All right. So in vMix, I know this, like I said, this seems weird. This is my preview window. This is my program window, okay? With the preview window, that's where I can set up whatever shots I need to set up prior. And then when I hit cut, then it goes to the program. So what you're going to want to do is create a list, okay? That's how we do this in vMix. So you're going to go down where it says add an input. You're going to come up with the dialog box. You're going to choose list. You notice it has a little play thing, little play deal, like it looks like a play button. You're going to choose a list, and then you're going to add, and then you're going to go put in whatever videos that you need to have in there. I don't even know if I have any videos on here. Let me look real quick. Bear with me, folks. I didn't even think about checking on that. Okay, what do we got? Movies in here? Okay, so Iron Man. That's our pastor. And what else? Aquaman. That sounds good. Okay. So we have our list. We hit OK. And now we have a list item right here. And if you look over where your audio mixer is, right next to it is going to be the contents of the list. Oop. Is that the old one? That may be the old one. Let me see what happens. Yeah. Yeah, that's the old one. So let's add something to the list. Sorry about that. This is the list I want to actually have here. So we'll choose Aquaman, and then we'll choose Iron Man, which is our pastor. And then we can play it. And so what you'll do is you'll hit play out, and it will just automatically go right over the thing that is being whatever's live. Okay, and when it's done, you would just fade back to the previous thing, or you could hit next or hit auto next and let it automatically go on to the next item if you have 2 or 3 pieces that you're putting in there. But anyway, that's the idea. That's the big consideration that I was talking about, was the weirdness of your pastor speaking to an empty audience. Okay, now's the time to do it in a more intimate setting. You could do it in your pastor's office. In our case, we're going to our video room, and we've got a set where our pastor does like remote teaching. So we're just going to use that. We've got a brick background. It's got a little bar height table that he's going to sit at. We're actually going to bring in a television on a stand, and it's going to be behind him, and that's going to have the his sermon slides are going to be on there. But it's going to be a more intimate setting versus standing at a pulpit with nobody behind you, no natural sound in the room, no laughter, no coughing or somebody sneezing or dropping a pencil or anything that you would normally hear. We're going to try to keep it where it's intimate and real, and made for what it is, strictly a live stream, not a live event that we are live streaming, but strictly a live stream. So we're treating it different, but we're putting it out in the way that everybody expects it to be, which is a normal live stream, the normal way. Don't go to a special place to watch us. Go where you normally would. Go where you know to go. And then, in our case, we're not live streaming the content. We're playing the content back live through the stream. Okay? I hope this has been helpful. I hope it hasn't been confusing. If it has been helpful, obviously like it, share it, do all that sort of stuff. If it's really confusing, tell me in the thing. This was makeshift. This was last minute. I got out of the shower and said, I got to go tell everybody about this because I don't know if anybody's thinking about this. So I hope it's been helpful. I'm going to check, see if anybody's got any questions. Chris makes a good point. vMix's video list is for standard def and above. If you have basic HD, then you will need to. It's for SD and above. Or, hang on, SD and above? That's standard def. If you have basic HD, then you need to upgrade. Gotcha. Okay. So, just keep that in mind. If you're already using vMix, you probably already have this ability to do it. You can also, just FYI, if the version of vMix that you have doesn't do this, you could do this another way. You could simply hook up a laptop with VLC running on it with a playlist, and unplug one of your cameras and plug the HDMI from your laptop into input 1 and play it that way, and just do it from your booth or whatever. So there's ways around it. Hey, Augustine. Glad to see you. Let's see. James says that we just swapped to vMix yesterday. Still need to stop in today and finalize a few things. Yep. James, no pressure. No, I know. It's crazy, right? All right, guys. I hope this has been helpful. Let me jump over to Facebook real quick. I've not been intentionally neglecting you guys in any way. I am just very much busy here. Let me check the. There we go. Let me pause this. Okay, let's see what's going on in here. Ron Shepard, thanks. You're welcome. Finally, you are connecting with me, Ron. Excuse me. Mercy. Jitterbug phone. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, Ron. Rock. Couldn't a video email with instructions? Yes. vMix. Shelly, let's see. What are your thoughts on Facebook possibly not being able to handle the load on Sunday? Yeah, I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think that Facebook and YouTube are going to be able to handle it because these are two of the largest companies in the world. Okay? That's the reality of the situation. Facebook is one of the largest companies. When you have a valuation of like over $1 trillion, you have the infrastructure that you need. Facebook has data centers all over the world. And Facebook has had a focus on video and live streaming and video usage and processing and all that sort of stuff in their infrastructure for several years. They are set and ready to handle this. I don't think any issues will be on the Facebook side. I think if there are issues, they are going to be on your municipality, okay, on your area, on the cable company or the provider that you're using in your area. And what I mean by that, if your church live streams, and if the church down the street live streams, and if your church up the street this way live streams, if you've got 100 churches in your area and each one of them is live streaming, in the morning, at the from the 10 to 12 hour, and they're doing it every week, then your cable company is already prepped for that, and everybody's able to do it. If there's a bunch of churches that, let's say you have 100 churches in your area, and 25 of them live stream and the other 75 haven't, and tomorrow's the first time and they're all trying to do it at the same time, maybe there would be an issue. I don't know. I would think that in your area that the cable providers, AT&T, whoever you're using, Fios, whatever, I would think that they can handle the upstream coming from all these different places and getting it out. And I know they can handle the downstream, the everybody in your town playing things back, because, good night, a huge amount of us are already routinely every evening watching stuff on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime, or like me, using YouTube TV as the TV. So, I'm watching the news on YouTube TV, and I'm watching our local programming on YouTube TV. So I'm streaming. I've got stuff coming in, so they're geared for that. I think it's going to be okay. YouTube, I'm not worried about, definitely not worried about at all, because they're bigger than Facebook. So I don't think it's going to be an issue. One issue, however, may be your church, because if you have not live streamed before and now you're like, we got to get started and this is how we're starting, then you may have problems if your internet is not up to scratch yet. We're in a quick push to try to get things in place and all that. All of us are, and that includes me. I've got some training that I want to put together that I have not taken the time to do. So I'm now in the middle of doing it. I've got a crash course on OBS that I'm putting together, and I hope to have that out. Everything, smooth. I will have it out late tomorrow, or I'll have it out Monday morning for you guys, just so that if you are in the position of we have to live stream and we don't know what we're doing, I can help you get started. We can get started really quick. Okay, definitely have you up by doing stuff by next week. In the meantime, if you're watching this and you haven't started live streaming, but you need to do something, you need to do it now, because nobody, you guys have canceled things for tomorrow. Keep it real simple, okay? You can go into, if you want to do it in the auditorium, okay, or if you want to do it, do a live stream in a more intimate setting, you can take your phone and you can go into the pastor's study, or you can go into the library, or you can go into, wherever. Do it in the hallway. You could do it. Have him sitting on the steps of the platform, right? Have him sit on the steps and just do it right there, just straight to that camera. You can do it either phone that you're using, and just go straight to the church's Facebook page. And I would just be sure to send out an email and say, hey, we're going to be going live on the church's Facebook page. If you've not liked the Facebook page or joined our private group, click here to do so. And then tomorrow morning before you go live, send out another email with, saying we're going live now, and here's the link to join us. Okay, and then just do it straight from your phone. That's the minimalist approach. If you don't have a mic, if you don't have, a shotgun mic or a lapel mic or anything for it, as long as it's quiet in there, and it's just talking directly to, and the distance between the phone and your pastor should be basically the distance of me. I mean, I'm extending my hand all the way, and I'm almost going to touch the thing. We're talking a few feet. Not talking about a big, huge, way back here. And we don't need to see the pastor full body. We don't need to see him pacing around or doing anything like that. Okay, this is a very special, very dedicated type thing. So do it up close. Okay, set the camera on a tripod, get a little clip, set the camera on a tripod, get all set, do a live stream. He's a few feet away. As long as everything's quiet, the microphone on there will pick it up. If you're doing it in your auditorium, and you got carpet and you got seats and stuff like that, it's not going to be very echoey. Like if you're like, we've got there's a Baptist church in Fort Worth that has hard floors, hard pews, big walls, cathedral, extremely long. You can't whisper in there without an echo. It's going to be echoey. So you may actually want to go do it in another place. So just keep that in mind. But I've got a video. Speaking of which, not Curtis. What's your name? Christopher. Grab the link for getting started with like iPhone video and put that in the comments, please. That's the first in a series I'm doing. The second one's going to be coming out later this week. Ideally later this week. I may have to do a little bit more live video training and stuff for you guys. So ideally it's coming out later this week. And the third one is coming like right behind it. But basically those 3 videos, the first one already being out, is how to do video on your phone and kick it up to the next level with minimal effort. Using a lapel mic that's meant for phones, or using a shotgun mic. The next video is like using a shotgun mic or using a lapel mic. We're using a couple of lapel mics, putting some lights on it, putting it on a rig so it's more like a regular camera. So those are coming out. But if we don't have anything to do, we got to do something for tomorrow because no one's going to be in the church and all that. Grab your iPhone, grab your Android phone, run to Walmart and get a little selfie clip and buy a little cheap, tripod stand, put him on there, and get up close with your pastor and just have him talk directly to it and do the sermon that way. Okay? That'll work. It will. It will. And then you can start making things just absolutely amazing. And I'll tell you, even if you do that, and I know, everybody's like, oh, it's not going to be perfect, so we can't do it. Okay, you need to put that stuff out of your head. You've got to put that stuff away. Don't say it's not perfect, so we're not going to do it. It won't look professional if we do it from our phone. I won't do it like that. You're being ridiculous. Now's not the time to look perfect and professional. Now is the time to minister to people who are not going to be able to get there physically, shouldn't get there physically, can't get there physically, could die if they got there physically. Okay, you understand? So put all that garbage away, make something happen. Okay, absolute minimum, grab your phone and do a live stream from there. Pastors, if you're scared that, it's not going to look great, it's not going to look good and stuff like that, put that garbage away. Okay, man up, turn on your phone and do a live stream and preach the gospel. You heard it here first, folks. I love you all, and I'm here to serve you. Justin, like I said, couldn't be here. We both love you. Christopher, Jordan, Ryan, the rest of our moderators and stuff. We are here for you guys. Ask questions as much as possible. We will do everything we can to help you guys meet the needs of your community, especially in this weird health crisis that we're going through right now, and then well beyond that. Y'all take care. Have a good week. Where's Fade to Black? I got to find Fade to Black so I can fade. Where is that? Fade to Black. Bye, guys.